So I've done 10 of these videos so far, and I'm going to make this one a bit longer because I just wanted to get the idea and concept of what it's like personally to live with ADHD out there to the most people that I can. It's not for the views. Well, it is so more people can see it, but it's not that I want about the views. Like it's I'm not trying to say, okay, I'm doing it for the views, get me subscribers. No, I want to educate people what it's like to actually have it and not do a dumb video like, oh, this is what ADHD looks like. Whoops, I'm funny and goofy. Like, shut the fuck. Like, it's not like that. It's literally, I just want to educate people. And every time I see these videos come across my dashboard or something, it gets up. Like I said, it gets upsetting because it puts out this false narrative, this false stigma, this false persona of what ADHD actually is. And as time goes on, it gets harder and harder to actually prove like that what ADHD is because it frustrates me that these social media sites even allow these type of posts to be up when it's a clear false narrative of what ADHD is. Obviously, social media, these sites aren't psychologists, so they can't, instantly tell it's fake, but it shouldn't be allowed because it's a spread of false information. So it's literally just makes no sense why they allow this. And it becomes an issue when these posts get so much attention, mostly from people clowning on them for knowing that it's fake and all. But the fact that it still gets that much attention is just outrageous because it takes away from the actual point of what the disability is. And some people will believe those videos, some people don't know the actual struggle, the actual problems that like people having ADHD like me and others have to go through. And like I said, my personal experience is different from others. People have it worse, people have it less. It's just little things that like I think it shouldn't be taken lightly of, despite how much of you have it. And the thing is, a lot of people nowadays have ADHD, they just don't know it. But it's just a thing that like I don't think people should be thinking it's fun to have, or it's quirky, or it's a good thing. It doesn't help me. It doesn't. If anything, it makes things worse. It's annoying, and it's just so many times I wish I didn't have it. So many times where I feel far behind, and I know because of the ADHD that it's a struggle and that it puts me further behind like my peers and my colleagues and friends, and that's how I know I always have to work twice as hard, three times as hard. Like I just have to work harder to keep up the pace, and it's not fun to always have to work so hard and always have to put in more work just so I can keep up when normally I should be able to keep up, but having ADHD, it prevents me from doing so. And it's something that I want people to understand, that just because I may look smart or be smart or I know a lot of things, just know like I actually had to work very hard to get to this place. I actually had to work very hard to know these things or understand it. Because of ADHD, it doesn't make things easier. It just doesn't. I'm not like a child prodigy. Like it's something that like regardless of what field it is, regardless of what expertise it might be in, I still have to work hard. I still have to understand it. And it's like there are other disabilities that are the same way, where other disabilities like further on than ADHD, they have to work three times as hard as someone that has ADHD. It's a mental, how do I put this? It's a mental struggle, but also like a mental detriment to our growth. And I feel like sometimes I'm very behind on a lot of things, or like when it comes to certain things, I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. I just don't care for it. Like, and that's the thing, like when I don't take my medication, sometimes I just don't care for things. Sometimes I just I just like I don't know how to explain it. And I want to explain it so like people can learn, but it's hard to explain it when it's like a mental thing because it's just one of those things that if you have it, you know. If you don't, you don't. And it's one of those like it's also one of those things that I don't like to glorify. I don't like to look up the symptoms because, having it, I know the symptoms, but it's not like I'm trying to look up the symptoms to be like how quirky I am. Oh, I can use this as an excuse to act this way. I'm trying to, I try and act the same way as someone normally would. I don't change my behavior or use it as a defense for my behavior, but it definitely prevents me from learning. So when it comes to certain things like socially, I don't learn as easily. I mean, I'm trying to not touch into my Asperger's a bit because my between ADHD and Asperger's, it's made me want to kill myself, and it's one of those things that I'm just like have to live with a constant struggle with, and it's annoying. But ADHD just isn't fun. It's not something that I'm trying to abuse. It's not something that I'm kind of repeating myself here, but it's not something that I'm trying to show off. Like, I try and, I don't know, like, I definitely recommend if you actually have ADHD, get medication, like, either Concerta or whatever they have. Because when I take my medication, my focus is literally, like, so good that it makes me feel like I can accomplish a lot within my life. And that's the one thing that I like, sort of, about ADHD because I don't want to say I've been over here saying I hate it and all, but I don't want to say I also like it because it's still a struggle to live with. But it's knowing it's or how do I explain it? Knowing how far it puts me behind and knowing the personal struggle of having to deal with it. When I take medication and feel so focused on things and feel like I can like accomplish so much and stuff and get all my things done, it makes me feel like I understand what it's like to be normal in a sense because I'm like is if this what it's like without ADHD. Obviously medication can't do everything, can't fix everything, and I have to take a medication every single day, but it's one of those things that like the medication definitely helps, and I recommend those who do have ADHD to get the medication or to look into various ways to help yourself because people shouldn't look at ADHD as a way to push them back. They should look for improvements on it and improving themselves rather. And obviously sometimes people can't afford it, and it sucks. But if you can, I definitely recommend getting help, getting the medication because it's definitely something that I think helps a lot, and it's good. It's good to have the medication, and I hope through these video series that people now have a better understanding of what ADHD is rather than just these videos on TikTok and other sites making it seem like it's fun, making it seem like it's a joyride or an adventure. Like literally, and the thing is, I know when like obviously when I don't take my medication, I know that the day is not going to be as productive, and that's the one thing that I hate is when I run out of medication before I get my next refill, and I'm just like, damn, these next few days are just gonna be wasted because it's not something that I'm trying to do, but it's something that I can't control sometimes, and I don't know, it's just so annoying, and I hate myself for it a lot, even though I can't control it. And that's the one thing I think people need to understand is like this isn't something that we can control half the time. This is something that like it feels like we're conditioned, and it's not like something like we can be conditioned out of because it's just so annoying to deal with. And thing is, I think and being self-aware, I took my medication today, so being self-aware of it now, it's obviously it's like, oh, if you know about it, then just fix it. Well, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And I think when I don't take my medication, I know it's not going to be a productive day, but I also can't do much about it. And it's like a struggle because it's I try to be productive. Let's just say that. I try to be productive as I can, but compared to when I do take my medication, I get 50 times the work done when I take my medication compared to when I don't. And that's the thing I think people need to understand is if you do have it, get the medication because it definitely, whatever medication you can for it, Concerta. I mean, it's basically Adderall, but I don't, if you have it, but yeah.